Hi everyone, Larry Satchwell here. I was so excited last weekend when I was working on that cold frame. I looked up and suddenly saw bluebirds, eastern bluebirds. They've sent their scouts. I can see 3 of my 4 bluebird houses from the garden. You're supposed to space them 100 yards apart, and I don't have that much space, but I have put their openings opposite each other. So they've nested in all 3 for over the years, but I know that I need to renovate them. One of them I can't open the door and inspect, and when I looked at it today, there was a nest upon a nest, and there wasn't any more room for another nest. So I don't know what the scouts are going to tell their friends. They may not nest in that one this year. And this one was my very first Peterson built, and it is literally falling apart. You know, I've got a couple of comments on my Peterson built. And yes, I'm an idiot. I put the notches on the wrong side of the door, the last one I built. And I had another question about building it with only 1x lumber. So I went and got my plans, my original plans from Lee Valley, and these are really old. And I have not been able to find full-size plans. I don't think there's an advantage of building it with only 1x. And in fact, the only thing that you would have gained is this back piece. And in the construction notes here, it says if you change the materials, e.g. 3/4 inch instead of 1.5 inch thick wood for the back and the floor, be sure the interior dimensions remain the same. Do not substitute a thinner material for the top inside. Much of the success to this house is attributed to the insulation provided by the thick roof. Similarly, do not reduce the roof dimensions. It shades the whole birdhouse as well as waterproofing it. Well, this top is supposed to be 13 by 9. And as you can clearly see, my top was never that large. And it is in pretty bad shape. So I glued up a couple of 1x6s, 13 inches wide. And I'm going to replace this top with this one. And it's 11 inches wide. I'm not even going to cut it. I'm just going to leave it the full 11 inches. But I do need to disassemble this a little bit before I can reassemble it. So let's get started. Not going to take much to get rid of this. I might as well give it a good cleaning while I've got it out here. You could use a mixture of 10% Clorox. I'm going to use this Simply Green. It's all-purpose cleaner. It is non-toxic and biodegradable, and I don't think the birds will be back soon enough to warrant any problems with that. I did manage to put the notches here on the outside of this one, unlike the other one I made. Has come apart over the years, so I need to pull that together, and I think I need to use a clamp here. I don't like the way this clamp is holding. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Here is still in good shape. I'm just going to add some screws in here. My fellow physical education teacher and good friend Jeff Peterson, I don't think any relation to the Peterson birdhouse, says that if you put soap on the inside of the roof here, wasps will not build their nest. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to just cover it with soap. And Jeff knows a lot about bluebirds. He, in fact, has a bluebird trail at Stone Mountain Golf Course. He worked there for a lot of years and played golf there, and recently retired and moved a little further south. But he has built, I think he said 50 bluebird houses over the years, and he does this and it doesn't seem to affect the bluebirds. Well, I have a little visitor here, a little ladybug had decided to make her home here. All right, Jeff also has, so he can inspect these easily, plastic golf tees that he uses to insert at the top. Now, I don't have any plastic golf tees right now, and I don't know exactly what size they are, so when I get those, I'm going to replace the nail that was in here with golf tee. So this one, I think, is ready to have the roof put back on. I'm just going to center it up here. Now, he also says don't put a perch on here because it encourages sparrows. You know, I get a lot of comments about sparrows and squirrels inhabiting these bird houses and bird feeders. Friends, I don't know what to do about squirrels. Squirrels are a way of life, and everybody has them. If you have a bird feeder, you're going to be fighting squirrels. Probably the best suggestion is to make a squirrel feeder. Try to keep them away from the feeders. Since I've got this here, this is aged so much that the grip here has pretty much gone away. Although it's really rough, I don't think they'll have any trouble. And the birds exploring that other house, the one with the limb on top and no perches, none of these lines had no trouble latching on. And there were, I think, 2 broods in there last year. But I am going to modify that house before the next week or so and put those little notches in there. All right, finished with this house. This house is a much different story. The only way to open this one is from the bottom. This is one of my first Bluebird houses where I had no idea what I was doing. I just wanted to make it look cool. Now, it has a tin roof, but there's also a 3/4 inch to 1 inch piece of, it looks like I used 1 inch cypress on this as a roof inside there. The problem with this one is you can't inspect the birds and see if they're having any trouble, and you can't clean it out without taking the bottom out. And like I mentioned a while ago, there was a nest on top of a nest in here when I just took it out. So what I'm going to try to do, and I can see about 5,000 nails in here, what I'm going to try to do is take the front off of this and put a hinge down at the bottom. This is not going to be easy. One of these nails is sticking up here, so that's a given. It's going to come out first. And the others, not so much. All right. Let me think. Well, I took a time out there because I could immediately see that something was wrong. And like I said before, I made this birdhouse before I had done any research. And, you know, I thought it looked cool, but it didn't serve the birds' best interest. However, they have been nesting in this for years. But in closer inspection, I found that the cavity here is way too big. It's 5.5 inches by 4.5 inches. And a bluebird cavity should be 4 by 8 on the floor. So I have an extra thick piece of cypress and I've cut it to match the sides here. And that's going to bring this side to 4.5. So it's now 4.5 inch squares. And since they've already been using it, I think I'll be okay. But what I am going to do is secure that piece really well here. So on the front here, I've attached a little piano hinge down at the bottom. And now I'm going to secure the bottom here pretty well. So now I need a way to fasten this top so that I can get it on and off easily. I'm going to drill a hole right here, 5/16 inch drill. And then I'm going to enlarge it over here. And while I have this in the drill, I didn't have any drainage holes in here. So I'm going to use this 5/16 and put some drainage holes. So I have this screw they call a hanger bolt. It's got leg bolt type threads on one end and regular threads on the other. I've drilled a little pilot hole here, and I've attached one nut against the other here. That's how you drive it in. Have that driven in, I can close the door. Use this little wing nut and secure the door closed. That way I can open it and close it as I need to. So there was one casualty. I have a broken heart. It came off, hit the floor when I was taking some of these nails out. It's not exactly right yet. It's a little bit short from the floor to the bottom, about 1 inch, but the Bluebirds have been using it and it still looks cool. So I'll use it. Thanks for watching.